Now, there'll be a debate tomorrow in Parliament about a controversial tax measure called the loan charge, which has been linked to at least 10 suicides. It affects contractors and freelancers across many different professions, including nurses and social workers, who joined schemes where they were paid through loans rather than their pay. This brought the amount of tax they paid down, but many say they were advised at the time by the companies promoting these schemes and accountancy firms that it was totally legal. However, in 2016, HMRC decided it wanted that money back, sometimes dating back many years, and all in one go. It left many workers with huge bills to pay and they said not the resources to pay them. On the line is Sabina, who as a business consultant was advised to join one of these schemes in 2009. Sabina, I mean, why did you decide to join one of these umbrella companies, as they call them?
Hi, good morning, Peter. Thank you for having me. I was an independent business consultant and I was largely self-employed as a contractor from 2009 to about 2018. And from late 2009 until mid-2014, upon the advice of my accountant, I used the services of an umbrella company for any invoicing of work that was provided for clients for whom I was consulting.
And what advice did you get at the time about this? You mentioned the accountant. You know, what was the general view about these kinds of arrangements?
So the clients I consulted for required invoicing to be made for my services via a limited company. I didn't have a company of my own. I'm not a tax expert. And I sought professional advice from my accountant. And I was advised to use an arrangement that would ensure I was compliant with IR 35. So my primary motive was to abide by the law and to be able to focus on my work without having to deal with all the admin of running my own limited company. So the umbrella company would invoice my client for my services, and then they paid me standard wages as a payroll employee. And the balance of any invoiced amount would be paid to me via an employment benefit trust, which is an EBT loan, which was registered with HMRC under DOTAS legislation, and it was declared as such, DOTAS being Declaration of Tax Avoidance. I did query this arrangement a number of times, and I was assured it was the most tax-efficient manner of me being paid and that it was fully HMRC compliant.
Right, but
and in fact,
the government...
all my tax returns showed this information. Everything was always declared.
The government says that average users avoided around £20,000 per year in tax, and HMRC told us the loan charge seeks to recover tax that has been avoided by disguising income as loans. They say it's their responsibility to collect the tax that people owe. I mean, do you accept, in retrospect at least, that it was a form of tax avoidance? So if any tax was avoided, then this is a matter that HMRC should have addressed at the time with the umbrella company. You know, as I said, I'm not a tax expert, and that's why I sought out guidance from my accountant and I followed their advice. And to be clear, I did not get all the money that my end client paid for my services. So I trusted what I was told, and the amount that I received was the right amount. And the umbrella company knew what they was doing, and their reports to HMRC were accurate. So if I look at my original contract of employment with the umbrella company, it is very clear. And I quote you, there's under clause 6.2 regarding remuneration, it states, and I quote, payments will be subject to deduction of income tax and national insurance and any other authorised deductions. So a lot of this money was kept by the umbrella company. And my understanding, this is really a PAYE problem, and that's why HMRC should be taking this up with my former employer. Now, you discovered...
criminal is they failed to do so.
You discovered you owed money in the form of a loan charge, as we said. I mean, how much was it? And how possible is it for you to pay it back?
Well, the amount that was quoted to me was over £100,000, which I literally, I even now, just saying that out loud, I can't even get my head around it. You know, it's It's highly unlikely I'll ever be able to pay that. I have no assets. I don't have any savings. I have nothing of value. I cashed in a very small pension to pay off debt when I was unemployed for 3.5 years. HMRC talk about us as customers, and they repeatedly say how they're ready to, they listen and they're ready to help and they'll work with you to find a solution. And they don't. I've been harassed. I've been threatened. I've had debt managers turn up on my doorstep. They've posted hand-delivered demands for immediate payment through my letterbox. They are the worst kind of intimidating tactics. And we know through freedom of information requests that HMRC use behavioural psychologists to write these letters. They're called nudge letters, and they time them to arrive on specific dates. Birthdays, Christmas, weddings, special occasions and the like, and the terminology and implication they use, that you are a criminal and that you've done something wrong, it is the most dreadful feeling to have hanging over you.
HMRC tell us they are prepared to discuss methods of payment, such as by instalments, which could be spread over a long period. Would those kind of options help you?
So I've been sent numerous letters by HMRC outlining how much they think I earned and how much, therefore, I owe. Many of the details are spurious, quite a few are inaccurate, and they even claim I was part of schemes during the years I was unemployed. So they might say this, they talk a great talk, but actually I know for a fact that they are just about maximising tax, and they have failed categorically, as I said earlier, to go after the employers as under a PAYE scheme, which is how I was employed by the umbrella company. And now they're using the loan charge to claw back tax, but they're clearly claiming it from the low-hanging fruit. They are going after the employees.
Can I ask what impact this has had on you?
It has been devastating. It's akin to having the sword of Damocles permanently hanging over your head. Especially I've done nothing wrong, I've done nothing illegal, and I stand. There's a threat always of losing everything, anything. It's just always the background. It takes. Sorry, I'm getting emotional about this, but it takes a lot of mental fortitude to pick yourself up time and again and remind yourself you've just done nothing wrong.
Sabina,
horrendous.
Have time to recover. I'm going to talk to another expert about this. On the issue of distress, HMRC told us they have made 10 referrals to the Independent Office for Police Conduct, where a person has sadly taken their life and used a disguised remuneration scheme. It concluded that in 9 of the 10 investigations, no misconduct by any HMRC officer was found. Keith Gordon is a barrister with a background in accounting. Keith, can you just very briefly, because we are short of time, can you tell us how these schemes worked? Because they do sound very complex.
Well, very simply, they didn't work. And the Revenue found that out in 2015. But by not working, it meant that the payments made to these umbrella companies should have been subject to PAYE, or the payments made by the umbrella companies should be subject to PAYE. The umbrella companies failed to deduct it. The umbrella companies owe the money, so the Revenue is right. £20,000 on average is owed per worker, but it was owed by the umbrella companies. But the Revenue failed to get the money from those companies, and they used the loan charge to transfer that liability onto, as Sabina said, the low-hanging fruit.
But people may still lack a degree of sympathy for people like Sabina, because at the end of the day, they will see it as tax avoidance, which it is, not evasion, but avoidance.
It was avoidance by the umbrella companies. Many people weren't even aware that there was anything suspicious going on. There were huge deductions, which most contractors thought was actually tax, but actually it was just simply profits enjoyed by the umbrella companies.
And did they go after any of these umbrella companies?
No. And by the time they realised they should have done, it was too late for them to do so, which is why they invented the loan charge.
Well, I should repeat that the debate is will go on tomorrow. There may well be more on this. HMRC say they always said these schemes didn't work. And you obviously agree with them that they didn't.
But they never told the people involved.
Keith Gordon, thank you very much indeed. And also thank you to Sabina.